Hi and welcome to my channel Freya Astrology, and welcome to this video which is we are going to be talking all about the upcoming entrance of Jupiter into the sign of Taurus, Venus's domain, over the next 12 months. And the exact dates are Jupiter is going into Taurus on the 17th of May 2023 until the 25th of May 2024. Just double check that. Yes, I have got the right dates. So I'm going to go, I'm just checking my list because I have a list here. We are going to go through all, the baby's asleep. Recording this with the baby asleep. I'm going to go through all 12 rising signs and do horoscopes for all 12 signs. So to see where Jupiter and Taurus will be showing up for you in your birth chart. Let's just talk briefly about the significations of Jupiter into Taurus. Jupiter is about expansion, opportunity, learning, philosophy, spirituality, luck, broadening horizons, and going out on a quest, a kind of quest for truth and knowledge. And so Jupiter usually stays in each sign for about 12 months, and it gives a focus in our birth charts for the next 12 months in terms of where we're seeing opportunities come in and where we're having seemingly more luck than usual, and chance experiences kind of showing up for us, or where things are simply just expanding and getting bigger. So and in Taurus, this connects to a solid earth archetype. So we have got fixed earth, so feeling very sure in your relationship to the material world, and how this shows up for you. This is very linked with the weather, so I think a lot about global warming. Is it even called that anymore? I feel like I've just shot back to the 90s. Yeah, the environment, the climate crisis, that is the current zeitgeist, isn't it? Terminology. So thinking about the climate crisis, especially with Saturn in Pisces, which connects us to the waters of the earth as well, and the structure of the waters of the earth. So we're thinking about barriers to water potentially being broken down, the implication of maybe flooding, farm work being emphasised in the next year, crops, harvest, all of these kinds of things. So Jupiter is expanding those sorts of things. And so not that I don't want to make it all doom and gloom, I just want to be kind of realistic about things. So this can also be exciting opportunities and expansive times around getting back to nature, getting back more to the natural way of things, supporting ourselves, specifically whilst the North Node is still in Taurus as well. Just for this next little while, just for the beginning of Jupiter in Taurus, we'll have the North Node in Taurus as well. So we'll have Jupiter meeting up with the North Node in a conjunction as well. We'll probably do a separate video about that later on down the line. So the North Node being that kind of collective destiny and that collective sense of where we're all heading towards, and Jupiter just expanding that. So making it more of an opportunity to expand into various forms, with Uranus in Taurus as well, still at the moment. New exciting ways of farming, of getting crops to grow, of delivering food and resources. Taurus is very connected with resources, finances, material, solid material items. So making those, enhancing those with technology, which, you might have mixed feelings about. It can also be really kind of going back to the spiritual philosophy of natural farming, organic farming, because Jupiter is, does connect us to this spiritual energy and this kind of teaching, and this kind of like looking up to the sages, looking up to the wisdom keepers, and thinking of owls and kind of crones in the you know, like ancient village culture. You know, going to the elders of your ancient village to kind of harness their wisdom and take it on to future generations. So Jupiter is very much a part of that. So let's move on to the rising sign horoscope. So I suggest you listen to your rising sign, but you can listen to your sun sign or your moon sign as well to try and glean a bit of information about how this transit might be turning up for you over the next 12 months. So Aries rising, this is going to be showing up for you in your second house of personal resources, finances. I really like this for Aries risings in terms of opportunities around work, how you you know, graft for your own personal income and support the physical structures around you and the material world that you like to have around you. This could be really looking at the kind of food that you're eating and making sure that it's quality over quantity, perhaps growing your own food, and really kind of seeking a kind of spirituality through your own, like infusing your sense of self-worth through the physical material world and definitely the natural world as well. Taurus risings, this is going to be showing up for you in your first house. So any kind of transits in the first house are like a rebirth moment, and it's a real check-in point. So Jupiter was here 12 years ago. So for all rising signs, you know, look back to 12 years ago when Jupiter was last in Taurus, which was 2011 to 2012. I think it was June to June, round about then. But yeah, definitely summer of 2011 to summer of 2012, just about. Yep, so rebirth experience, checking in with your psychology and your outlook on life. You know, do I still feel the same as I did 12 years ago? Have things changed? Am I looking for new teachers at this time in my life? This could well bring new teachers into your life, or perhaps turn you yourself into a teacher of some kind, you know, becoming kind of like graduating into like a philosopher instead of a student, or a kind of you know, a teacher that would just share their wisdom on a very kind of simplistic level. I guess I'm trying to think about, like, say you're a primary school teacher, which obviously requires a lot of work and effort and skill to provide that teaching to children, but suddenly you are going on to provide teaching for people, for older people that require more information, and therefore you need to do more study to become more of a kind of higher up teacher. That's not the right kind of terminology, is it? But more of a kind of like a sage instead of a teacher for the everybody. You become a kind of a master of your teaching ability, and potentially teaching to older students instead of younger students that can only kind of take in you know, smaller amounts of simplistic information. I know nothing about teaching structures, by the way, so I'm sorry if that offends anybody. That's not what I'm intending to do. Also for Taurus risings, maybe just pay attention to your physical body, as Jupiter, when it connects with the physical body, so on your ascendant or on your moon, so moon in Taurus as well, this could be a significant year for you in terms of your physical body, because Jupiter expands. Just pay attention to if your body is growing in any way, because Jupiter can make things bigger for kind of better or worse. So just paying attention to how your body is processing things at this time, and if it's expanding at this time as well. It could be that you are expanding into your new philosophy of exercise, and therefore you're not gaining weight, you are you know, maintaining a weight that you are comfortable with, because you are putting all of that time and effort and spiritual energy into that philosophy. But it can also mean weight gain. Gemini risings, this will be, Jupiter and Taurus will be in your 12th house. So the 12th house is typically known as the blind spot, an area of life that we can't or of the birth chart we can't necessarily see ourselves. It's really difficult to access. There is access there, but it's limited. So it's often things that are going on in the background that we're not necessarily seeing. And connecting to Taurus, this can have to do with our personal finances. I wonder about work at this time for Gemini risings, and just making sure that you are being stable with your financial situation instead of thinking, oh, everything will just be fine. But just making sure that you're kind of perhaps putting some money away. This can also be a stronger connection. It's almost like a spiritual connection to the material world, a spiritual connection to finances. Perhaps if you're a Gemini rising and you work in the healing arts, or the kind of like herbal essences, herbal remedies, the kind of natural world as medicine. This could be a strongly intuitive time for you to really kind of deepen your practice and go kind of deeper in terms of like your learning and your understanding and your philosophy and spiritual connection to the healing arts and herbs. Also gardening. I find a lot of Gemini risings quite interested in gardening. Taurus being in your 12th house, just this kind of maybe you can't see it yourself, but a natural ability with the natural world to kind of interact, to create these solid forms of plants, of plant growth, to support your own well-being. That's also something that comes up for me with Jupiter and Taurus in your 12th house, Gemini risings. Cancer risings, Jupiter and Taurus will be showing up in your 11th house. The 11th house is the joy of Jupiter, so this is a nice positive one, especially whilst Venus is still in Cancer. This is a really kind of positive time of expansion and opportunities in terms of groups, friends, anything that requires other people to kind of help you out. Really, it could be chance opportunities from any kind of groups that you're involved in terms of personal finances, in terms of your connection to the natural world. Perhaps you're joining a new, perhaps you're getting an allotment. And, this is very much a kind of Jupiter Taurus in the 11th house thing, because an allotment, even though it can be quite a solitary thing, it sounds like there's a real, I don't have an allotment, but I know some people that do have them, and it sounds like a bit of a kind of social scene, and you're there doing kind of seed swaps and all those kinds of things. So Cancer risings, pay attention to any kind of allotment or gardening stuff that might be coming up for you. Leo risings, this is in your 10th house, so I feel like this is a really great opportunity for work for Leo risings, for getting yourself out there, getting yourself known, kind of being on display in terms of your ability to earn and create physical material success for yourself, anything to do with the natural world. Perhaps you're building your own house and it's coming to a completion point. Perhaps you are going for a promotion at work, and that's kind of finally coming through in the next 12 months. Virgo rising, this is going to be taking place in your 9th house of spirituality. This is the joy of the sun. This is the house of God, and this kind of is a very spiritual house. So Virgo risings, this feels like a very spiritual year for you coming up, and this definitely will be doing something like inviting new teachers into your life, chance opportunities with expanding your horizons, potentially going abroad, traveling to new places with new cultures and soaking in a whole new way of life that is very different to the one that you are used to and comfortable with, in the interest of expanding your mind. This can connect to higher education. Perhaps you're going back to school, perhaps you're applying to do a degree, something like that. This is all really good, solid. There might be financial support that kind of lands in your lap if you're looking for financial support when it comes to applying for higher education at this time. So I like this one for Virgo risings. Libra risings, this is taking place in your 8th house. This is other people's resources. This is the house of the occult and the kind of the deeper, darker mysteries of life. And so with Taurus here, we're thinking about our connection to finances, to nature, and this, the kind of the give and the take of the natural world, the give and take of resources, and how other people's resources can work for you, but also how your own resources can work for you. And thinking about how can I support myself in the material world. Do I need to apply for a loan? Am I seeking the support of my partner at this time whilst I'm trying to get an idea off the ground in terms of work or something like that? And yeah, just paying attention to finances, mortgages, loans, those sorts of things, staying on top of those kind of payments, and chance opportunities potentially coming about in those areas of life. Scorpio rising, this is taking place in your 7th house, which is the house of the other. This can be a marriage partner, a romantic partner, a business partner. And so with Taurus in your 7th house, this is kind of just really celebrating love and connection with other people, and really enjoying the kind of sensual side of life. I can't believe I've not said the word sensual yet, and we're already like, nearly through the zodiac. But really, Taurus connects to the senses, the smell, the touch, the feel. Touch and feel, surely the same thing. Anyway, sound, singing, just really connecting on a kind of one-to-one basis with nature, with your partner, being out in nature more with your partner, really getting to know the land. Perhaps, we talked earlier about allotments. Perhaps this is, tending to your own garden with your partner in your own house, your home and garden, just, doing, perhaps all the structural work's done on your physical house, and now you want to pay attention to the natural part of your home. So the garden, the yard, the vegetable patch, maybe the shed in the garden, those sorts of things. Perhaps setting out your own vegetable patches, and just really enjoying that sense of sharing in each other's energies over the next year, and just really enjoying those experiences. And what can you learn from your partner at this time as well? Because with Jupiter in your 7th house, the partner becomes the teacher. So pay attention to what your partner might be teaching you at this time, or even that perhaps your partner is getting opportunities and luck coming their way, which is supportive of the both of you. Sagittarius rising, this is in your 6th house, so pay attention to your health and your daily routines. Is there some new philosophies that are coming in, or are there some old philosophies that have always worked for you, but perhaps you haven't been paying attention to them, that you want to go back to? Because Taurus is a fixed earth sign. This is kind of like the things that we know and that we love and that we don't like to change, but perhaps we've not been tending to them. So, perhaps you are a lifelong yoga student, but perhaps you want to become a yoga teacher. This would be quite good for Sagittarius rising, actually, because the 6th house is all about health, and the things that we have to do daily to kind of nurture ourselves. And the 6th house can connect to work, and so teaching other people yoga and this connection with their own physical body in this very sensual way that we kind of move and flow. And I feel like yoga is very connected to nature as well, and maybe yoga outside as well could be a really positive thing for you right now. Just pay attention to your throat chakra as well at this time, and the solid structures of your body as well. Listen to what they're saying to you over the next 12 months, because they will be giving you hints and tips about how to be looking after your body over this next 12-month period. Was that Sag? Yeah, Capricorn rising, 5th house. This connects to children. I'm not a medical professional or anything like that, but often with Jupiter going through the 5th house, this can signify perhaps conception, or more of an interest about how to expand your own philosophies in life through the idea of adding to your own family through means of children, and kind of expanding your genetics. Jupiter is literally expansion. The 5th house is children, so literally expanding your genetics, expanding your family, and learning from those experiences as well. So Capricorn rising, this is also creativity, romance, fun. And in the sign of Taurus, this is like potentially having the finances to be able to actually go out and do some of the things that you really love to do, and definitely spending more time in nature and having fun in nature. Perhaps you're taking up what's that word, like river swimming, you know, I can't think of the word, wild water swimming, just getting out there and getting into some water somewhere, especially with Saturn in Pisces as well. I like this one for Capricorn risings in terms of fun, exciting opportunities coming up in the year ahead, and for really enjoying nature at this time. Aquarius risings, this will be taking place in your 4th house of home, family, roots, ancestors, family karma, possibly the father as well. And Jupiter in Taurus in this house will be kind of expanding all of these themes in a very solid, real, material way. I often kind of hesitate over saying like home and you know, physical structures like a house, real estate, that sort of thing, with the 4th house now, because I find that whenever I've moved house and whenever there's like a change in the actual home, like a living environment, that tends to be a 3rd house kind of emphasis. 4th house emphasis is much more like, where are my parents involved in this? What's going on with my family right now? How is family karma kind of showing up in my life right now, and how is it making me, you know, take that as a focus for this particular year ahead? And so kind of perhaps your father's becoming your teacher, perhaps your family are becoming a teacher, perhaps you're interested in doing your family tree, and through doing your family tree, you know, this very kind of solid process of like writing down and bringing into physical solidity, reality, how your family have kind of grown and left their mark on the world, kind of thing, and on you as an individual. I like this one for Aquarius risings and kind of researching family trees and opportunities coming about through family events as well. So perhaps suddenly you're going on a big family holiday that you guys have always been planning for the last 15 years, and this is the year that it's happening. And Pisces rising, finally, this will be taking place in your 3rd house. So this could signify a house move, changes to your local environment, opportunities coming about through your local environment, meeting teachers in your daily life, in your day-to-day, popping to the shop, popping to the post office, going to your local cafe, and just those little bits of information that you're gathering each day, those little conversations that you're having with the barista or the shop worker, really expanding your mind and kind of bringing about exciting opportunities. I remember when the 3rd house was emphasised in my life, and just popping to my local coffee shop, and suddenly I'd found a new employee to work for my business because of the sibling of the barista that I was chatting to that day needing a job. The 3rd house is very much siblings as well, so siblings, cousins, aunts and uncles, they can all become very emphasised when the 3rd house is being emphasised, and those various family members becoming teachers for you, bringing about exciting opportunities in terms of finances potentially for you, and anything to do with the natural world as well, and spending time in nature together. Perhaps you're setting up a family-run farm, or like a commune type experience. I can really see this one working quite well for Pisces rising. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed your Jupiter and Taurus horoscopes. My next live event is on the 20th of May at the Forum Norwich with Orion Events. And it's going to be a fabulous wellbeing festival in the Forum. I am so excited. I feel like, you know, I've reached, you know, ultimate like local mecca in terms of the Forum is just like such a big, bright, wide open space, and I'm going to be there giving mini readings, mini astrology readings, making connections, networking. Come along, say hello. I'd love to just say hello to you. see you in the flesh. It's always lovely. I met some lovely people at the last event at St Andrew's Hall about a month ago, and I'm looking forward to meeting some more people. You can always book in for a longer session with me at those events as well. I will have my booking information with me, so you can book in for year ahead readings, solar return readings, natal chart readings. We can book you in for those as well. But yeah, I'll be giving out mini readings on the day. I'm hoping to have a few courses up and running on my website soon. Probably some self-paced ones to begin with access to a regularly monitored discussion forum, or potential like private messaging group. It will be a private messaging group that I can check in with maybe once a week, or a couple of times a week to answer any questions that you might have. So that is some exciting stuff in the pipeline, and hopefully the first classes that will be available will be to do with transits, so you can track your own transits for the whole year ahead, and it will give you the simple, accessible, very clear to understand skills of how to do this. How is this Jupiter and Taurus showing up for me? So not just which house is it showing up in, as I've just talked about during these horoscopes, but is it making any aspects to any of my natal planets? Is it making conjunctions? Is it making trines? Is it making squares? Is it making oppositions? Where are the eclipses showing up for me? Which areas of life am I going to feel fated? Kind of, chance meetings with people, with new beginnings and endings. All of these sorts of things will be in this first class to do with transits. I am just finding the time to record all of the information for that, and then it's going to be available as a self-paced course on my website, which I'm so excited about. And like I said, with one-to-one access to me for like a full week period after you've purchased the class, and so that you can ask me as many questions as you want, and I will always get back to you within 24 hours on those. Okay, it's lovely talking to you. Have a fabulous Jupiter and Taurus transit over the next 12 months, and I'll see you again next time.